Hello! My mic meter is bouncing, therefore you should be able to hear me. Ghost of Vodafeld, nice to see you. You are on it, my friend. You were here right away. I really have to be less aggressive with the name truncating, the username truncating on the chat thing, because I know it's Ghost of Vodafeld, but I see what you see, so this is all I have of the username. I really should fix that. Not right now, however, because, you know, we're streaming live, so it's going. Hi! Nice to see you. We are doing the thing again. My mic's a little hot, you know. Can you blame it? Yeah, back to the puppet building thing. As always, as usual, because that's my job, and I love it. So, but the nice thing is we're not rushing this week. This is a relatively chill week, and I'm trying to maintain that level of, you know, I do advertise this as the chill stream, so Ghost of the Three Dots now. Yes, exactly. I will make a mental note to fix that, or at least have it be slightly less aggressive, so I can at least tell who I'm talking to. Yeah, anyway, hi. We're starting off with the coffee as usual. Branding, it's all about branding. And yeah, we got some interesting stuff on the agenda today. Actually, we have one thing on the agenda today, and it is, I hope, interesting. But it looks like you're the only one here so far. So you win. You've won this stream. Congratulations. Have an internet point. Yeah. So the good news is we'll probably need to repeat this because, you know, we're just starting, so people are just going to start filtering in. But I'm going to say probably won't be a build stream next week because I'm taking a week off starting tomorrow or tomorrow afternoon-ish. Off being a relative term. I'm still going to be doing Operation Puppet stuff. It's just going to be a lot of video production stuff and not so much on the puppet building side of things. So, but I will be streaming a whole lot of video game stuff on the Pixels and Puppets channels. So, so look forward to that. So if you're into the video games, and I'm sure at some point Frankie will make an appearance. So there will be puppets as well as pixels. So. That's coming up, and I'm looking forward to that. A little bit of downtime. I've been going hell for leather for a while, so it's time to have a little chill. And I realized that, like, so the way I plan my build streams, or my builds, not build streams, also build streams, but the way I plan my builds is I go month by month, and I plan out 4 weeks of builds. And that usually is, you know, the correct number of weeks to fill a month. But occasionally we get a little moment like we're having right now, wherein the month starts on a Thursday, right? And so this is the build I'm working on right now is the last build of April, and May won't start for almost a whole other week. So I'm literally done my schedule, and I will be starting the next schedule. So I could just build more, or I could take a little time for me. And Zap, how you doing? Yeah, it's been a while. Nice to see you again. I know you're floating around all the time. I see your username on the Discord every now and then. Nice to see you again. So yeah, I'm talking about how I'm going to take a week off-ish, in which I'm going to be streaming other things other than puppet building. I'm going to be streaming a lot of video game stuff. So if you're not following the Pixels and Puppets YouTube channel, if you're on Twitch, for example, if you're on Owncast, as Ghost of Vodafeld is, you're good. That's it. That's the only place that you need to worry about. And the PeerTube server also has just a separate channel for Pixels and Puppets. If you're on Twitch or YouTube, there isn't another channel. There is a second channel that you're going to want to follow if you want to follow my video game stuff. So, and also tech stuff. There's going to be some tech stuff coming up too. So there's all that. All that is happening this week because I will have a week during which I will have finished the builds for April, and I won't need to have started the builds for May. And so I've got like about a week in there that I can just kind of flex time. So I'm going to do a lot of video production stuff, a lot of streaming. Hopefully get the next Oracle episode. The next Oracle episode has been written for a while. I thought I shot some, and then I actually looked at the footage, and of course the audio was messed up. The mic, it was probably just a loose cable or something, but the mic didn't actually connect. So although the footage itself was usable, the audio was not. And I couldn't just overdub the whole thing, because that would be silly. So I'm just gonna shoot it all again. But we were very close to finishing the next Oracle episode, and then I actually looked at the raw footage, and it was like, oh, I should look at that the second I finish shooting it, so I don't tear down the studio and think I'm about to start editing, and then oops, turns out you're not. But what are we doing today, Kevin? Good question, Kevin. Doing a build. This is the last build, as I said, of April. And it is a build for an Operation Puppet community member who I have not asked permission to say who they are. So, maybe they'll join the stream, in which case they can make themselves be known if they so wish. But this is a furry rod arm monster. And I'm going to be shooting another discrete video, one that I'm going to edit out for on one of the tutorial series, the new tutorial series that's on the YouTube and PeerTube channel. I realized for the past couple ones, I've been saying, oh, I'm going to edit this out as a YouTube video. It's not just YouTube. That was literally like a language convention. YouTube and PeerTube, of course. PeerTube is very important. Even though the PeerTube server doesn't get a whole lot of traffic, of course not, I treasure having the PeerTube server because it's mine. I don't have to answer to anybody. If Elon buys YouTube, I don't care. It's fine because I still have my video distribution platform that I can use to still make my stuff. So that is vital. Owncast. I didn't realize puppeteers do voices live, but it makes sense. Yeah, most of the time they do. Sometimes there's dubbing. You're not completely wrong in that very often, for example, the last few years of Carol Spinney's life, it was Matt Vogel doing both Oscar and Big Bird, the puppeteering, but Carol Spinney was still dubbing the voices. It's because the voices is so iconic that and he could still do that, right? So yeah, they would shoot with one puppeteer doing the voice and the other doing the actual puppeteering. And I think Gonzo for a little while has also been like that. I know that Dave Goelz, I believe, has retired permanently from actual performing. Oh no, it wasn't Gonzo, it was Boober Fraggle on the new Fraggle Rock stuff. I think Dave Goelz is supplying the voice for that, but not the puppeteering. So yes, it does happen. You are quite correct. But most of the time it is being done by the actual puppeteer themselves. And particularly in my case, just because I don't have the time to sit here and edit. Oh, the Puppet Builder, new follower. I guess that's on Twitch. How you think? I don't remember how I set up the notifications. Hello, welcome, thank you. Whatever platform you're on, speak up in chat and I'll be able to tell what platform you're on. That's the thing. I'm streaming to 4 different places right now, so if you don't say anything, I don't know where you are. I also don't see the numbers, which I like. I don't want the numbers. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. It's good to not know the numbers. In fact, I have a new blog post of my own personal tech and gaming blog, kevinblades.com. That's right, myname.com. About how it is good and healthy to stream to small audiences, such as your good selves. So that's what we're doing now. And it's good. There's a very positive side to it. I guess on the Muppets, instead of doing the voice live, makes it easier for live action. Yes, absolutely. It does make it easier for live action actors. This is one of the advantages to puppets in general. Every performer, like every actor will tell you this, they much rather work with an actual physical object there at the very least than just a green screen or something, right? yeah, it very much helps. And I've talked about this before, but it's worth reiterating. One of the advantages to puppets over any other form of character animation, and that's all that it is, after all. This is Puppet Chaos. Hello, there you go, Twitch. I see you on Twitch. So that notification was from Twitch. Okay, good to know. One of the advantages of doing puppetry as a form of character animation is the fact that there's a part, it bypasses part of the suspension of disbelief in your brain, because you know there is a physical component to it, right? You don't have to, think, oh, how did they do that? You already know how they did that. So this is why it kind of doesn't matter. Like when you see Jim Henson doing interviews with Kermit, and it's clear he's performing Kermit. He's not even trying to hide it. He's not a ventriloquist. It doesn't matter. Kermit is still Kermit because the performance is what matters, and he's right there. There's an immediacy to the physicality of it that is something you cannot get with any other. As good and sophisticated as CG gets, and it's important, and I'm not an anti-CG person at all. I quite like it, but there is something special about puppetry as a character animation form, and that's it. It's the fact that it shares our physical space, and there's no way around that. There's no other form of character animation that can do that. So, and that's cool. So yeah, puppets are cool, turns out. So let's talk about the cool puppets. This is what we're doing today. I'm going to be shooting another demonstration video for the YouTube and the PeerTube so what we did, the first one, which is up now on both YouTube and PeerTube, was Sewing Hands. The second one, which I'm about to edit, is for, what the heck did we do? I don't even remember. It was last week. What did we do? Did it involve glue? Wow, my brain is just blank. I can go and look. We did something, anyway, there was a second one. Wow. There's a moment of, an elderly moment right there. I literally don't remember. We did it last week. I'll look it up. I totally forgot. Anyway, the one we're shooting this week, the ears, thank you. That's right, how to do the ears. Wow, nice. I'm glad somebody remembered. Anyway, yeah, the second one was the how to do ears from scratch. And the third is what we're gonna shoot today. So what is it? It is, I guess we'll go to the wide cam here. This is the one we're gonna stick on for most of it. Fur styling. We're going back to the Monster Salon. You can insert your Bugs Bunny clips here. So you know what, let me go back here and we'll start the edit point right here. So hi, both YouTube and PeerTube. We are doing some fur styling today, which is a thing that you have to do fairly often when it comes to furry puppets, because fur looks fine usually when you take it out of the box. And let's grab a little piece here and see, this is fine as it comes right out of the factory. Are we using mousse on puppets? You can. We'll get to that. You can. You're not wrong. But most of the time, particularly with professional puppets, you don't just leave it like this. You don't just have it come out of the box and leave it like this. You do something to it. Look at all of the Muppets, and there's very few of them that have fur that look like this, right? There's always some kind of treatment done to it. So that's what we're doing today. We're doing a very simple treatment. So let's go here. So here's the puppet we're working on today. It's just this camera does not do this color justice. It is really a beautiful, vibrant lilac. It is just lovely. I like it a lot. Let me get the mouse out of the way here so we don't accidentally click on something. So there are several ways that you can treat fur somehow. Unless you want a puppet with horrible hair for aesthetics. Yes, exactly. You can also, it really depends on the fur. Sometimes you'll get fur right out of the box and it's like, oh, okay, that looks great. I don't have to do anything to it. Here's an example. This might look a bit familiar. This stuff, this is some of the stuff I use for Frankie. It's got a nice kind of, curliness and kind of grunginess to it. It's got a good texture already, so I didn't have to do anything to this. I don't always treat fur. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Depends on the look you're going for also. Sometimes you want sleek and groomed, in which case you don't want to mess it up. But sometimes you do want to mess it up. So we're not really messing it up today, but we are going to get it under control a little bit. So there are several ways that you can treat fur. One of them, of course, is the length. So you can shave it, you can cut it, you can trim it just like you would, a hairstyle. It's really just artificial hair, right? So you can do that if if you're a decent beautician. Is it beautician? Stylist, then you can absolutely just style a puppet's hair like hair, and that'll work. You can put a comb through it, all that stuff. A lot of times, though, for a monster particularly, that's not really what we want to do. Although for this one, I think we're going to go somewhat slick. Now, the character that this is going to be slightly kind of weary and tired, and so we want a not perfectly groomed feel, I think. For once, I have a puppet question. Say the unthinkable happens and someone spills soda/beans on a puppet like Frankie. What are your methods to clean it? Okay, that's a tough one. You probably, it's like any other fabric. So try just water to see if you can get it out. But if there's stains, there isn't a lot you can do for that. I honestly, I don't know. The secret is don't do that, right? Water is really the only solution. You don't want to put it in a washing machine. You don't want to you can get it in and kind of scrub it a little bit with some gentle soap. But other than that, get some water on it, let it dry by the air. Don't put a hair dryer on it. Don't comb it through because that's just going to make a big fuzzy mess. But yeah, I know the best method of cleaning first is prevention with all those unthinkable. Yeah, well, you know what happens on film sets usually if something like that happens, replace it. That's why there are puppet wranglers standing by. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do, right? It's like if you had a jacket that was made of fur and you spilled something on it, what would you do, right? That's kind of the same situation. So not a lot you can do. Try and clean it with just water and some gentle soap. Anything that's good for clothing would be good for a puppet because this is just, synthetic fiber. So, but do it by hand. Don't put it in the machine, and just try your best. And sometimes you just have to replace it or repair it. And that's it. That's the only answer I've got, unfortunately. Good question, though. Thank you. So we're going to groom it a little bit. Now, I originally thought that I was going to trim this a whole bunch because the eyes that are going on this, let me show you that. So since this character is going to be kind of tired, weary, we're going to do these oval shaped eyes. I'm going to do eyelids for these. And so they're going to be, kind of Ernie style shape like that. And this is this conveys tiredness quite well, particularly with half closed eyes. And so I originally thought, you know what, I'll get in here and I'll mark it out and I'll shave right down to the netting so there's like a little socket to put them in. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what, I think what would be nicer and more interesting and would actually make the eyelids pop more is if instead of that, we're going to groom down just the face part here. We're going to leave the top part kind of loose so we can do stuff like that. But there's a nice part here in the middle. It's also going to have a nose as well. So we've got to think about that coming up. But I'm going to groom down the fur on just the upper face here, and we're also going to groom it away from the mouth line a little bit, just so it lays down. We have a nice defined lip line here, because that's important too. And just so it will stay in place. Now, this is the thing about grooming fur. There are, let's go back to this camera and I get my coffee while we talk about this. There are several methods of getting fur to stay in place, right? And it is the same as getting hair to stay in place. Believe it or not, I do know a few things about that because I haven't always looked like this. 35 years ago, as an aging goth, I had a big floppy head of Robert Smith hair. So I have done some work when it comes to making hair do things and be things and stay that way for long periods of time under stressful conditions. So I can speak to this with some degree of authority. Normal hair products like, mousse, gel, hairspray, all that kind of stuff, you can absolutely use that on a furry puppet or the hair of a regular, if you're just using a piece of fur as a toupee style hair piece. Oh, nice to see you, Capricorn something. Chokmuju, hi, I see you too. So I was talking about this before, I have to change the length that it cuts off the usernames because I can't read the whole thing. I'm seeing what you're seeing, so my apologies, I can't read your whole username, but welcome nonetheless. So where was I at? Hopefully this will edit out well. Making hair stay in place. So yes, you can use normal hair products like mousse, gel, hairspray, all that kind of stuff. Styling fudge, styling wax, all that kind of weird stuff. Thank you very much, Zap. Nice to see you. But the problem with all of that stuff, and again, this is really, you can treat this just like hair. So anything you would do to hair, you can do to this. Heat can be a problem because this is a synthetic fiber. So this is basically plastic. These are just like little fibers of plastic. So be careful, like don't take a, like a straightening iron or a curling iron to this because you will just melt it. But other than that, any kind of product that you would use on hair, you could use on this. But the problem with that stuff is it wears off. And it wears off relatively quickly too. As somebody with a big head of Robert Smith hair in the 80s, let me tell you, it wears off quicker than you would like it to. Many a time I've spent the evening with my hair spiked up and then, 3 hours later it's just flopped down. And that's, let me tell you, 1986, that was not what you wanted to happen. So what we want is something that's considerably more durable and permanent than that. I think you can do the hair ranch dressing. Well, hey, it's your puppet, go nuts. I ain't judging. So what we can do, now this is, the first time I ever heard about this, speaking of the 80s, was literally in the 80s. Because, here we go with the old man moment, but back then we did not have the range of hair products that you kids have today. So we had to invent things, and if you were part of the punk/goth community, you had to get creative. And one of the things that was figured out pretty quickly is a safe and non-toxic, surprisingly enough, method of, let's say you have a mohawk and you need to spike your mohawk and you need to make that thing razor blade rigid. You just need to just do it and have it stay that way for a long concert or something where you're going to be sweating, etc. Glue, white glue. This stuff you can actually put in your hair and it's fine. Let's not get the Gorilla Glue jokes going. That's a whole separate thing. And I got feelings. But this is just regular old white glue you can get anywhere at any hardware store. It will actually tell you it's non-toxic. It's right there, non-toxic. Knows how to focus, non-toxic. This stuff is completely safe to put in hair. it lasts for a long time. So don't do it unless you want to commit. But the good news is we can use this on the fur and it will last a very long time. And I can even give you an example. Someone you know and love. The good old Oracle here. So, you ever notice the Oracle's hair and back has got this lovely spikiness? That's white glue. That's what that is. And that's stayed this way. It's been like, I don't know, almost 5 years now since this version of the Oracle happened. And that's the way it's stayed. So this is a very good way of being able to style fur and have it stay for a long time. Well, come on, Oracle, cooperate. You're not going back on the stand. There we go. Okay. The staff always sticks out and pokes me in the eye when I'm walking by. I think he does it on purpose. Hair gel, great for puppets. Yes. Also doesn't last long. And that's the problem we are solving with the white glue. Now, the nice part of doing just a regular hair product is, of course, if you don't want it to last long, if you want to be able to change the style, absolutely go for hair products because that will allow you to do that, right? But if you know this is it, this is what you're sticking with, then honestly, white glue and dilute it with a bit of water, best solution. I do that with every bit of fur styling for like a furry monster that I'm doing all the time. And that's what we're doing today. And it's very, very simple. As we should probably just get into it. So let me show you what we got going on here. We of course have our puppet. We got some gloves, we got some white glue, we have some water. So we are going to want to dilute this a little bit because you don't want to, I mean, you can put just the glue on itself, but it's going to be kind of thick and gloppy and you don't want that. I also have some paper towels standing by. This is water. We are going to be getting water around places. And to start with, let's say we want to make the fur, you want to get some texture going in the fur. And to do that, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to work the substance down into the kind of substrate of the hair, or the fur. And so we're going to start with water. Got to be a pain to clean it when you want to restyle it. Yeah, well, most of the time you don't really have to clean it out. It just kind of wears off. Now, depending on, of course, the quality of the product and stuff, sometimes it will flake and it will get nasty. But again, shampoo, right? You can literally just wash it. You always, if you ever do need to get your puppet wet for any reason, hopefully not too wet, don't toss it in a, swimming pool or something. Let it air dry. Just let it air dry. It's going to take days, but let it air dry. So yeah, you can just use shampoo and just wash the puppet's hair like you would wash your hair, Yeah, he's Kermit in the dryer. Yeah, don't do that. I don't think you would appreciate that. Okay, so I'm gonna put the gloves on. This is why I'm not even trying to wear my rings today. Sad face. We're just gonna start by getting some water and working it into. I always want to do the Bugs Bunny routine when I'm like this. I can't even remember the line now. What is with my brain today? Anyway, never mind. What our goal is we actually kind of want to end up where we're starting here. But we just want to be able to make it stay like this, right? So we want a nice clean lip line and we want a nice part in the middle that's going to be kind of smoothed down. And so that way we've got a different texture on the face than we do on the top. On the top we can kind of get stuff going or not, right? Whatever you like, but this gives us some flexibility with design. If the character is in a scene where they've just had something happen, you can do that, all kinds of stuff. You can get creative in the moment, but this will allow us a nice place to kind of have a face, because one of the problems, of course, with particularly furry monsters is there's so much fur that you lose some of the features. It just looks like a big blob of fur. That's one of the things we're working on not having happen in this case. So we're just going to get some water Just kind of make it wet. Get it down in there. Just start smoothing some water on it. Don't worry too much about it. The water isn't going to do much harm. So I'm trying to stay out of the camera as much as possible, but it's not always possible. And the nice thing about this is, I don't know if you can tell this, you can kind of tell it in the camera. When this purple gets wet, it actually goes a darker color, so you'll be able to start to see where you need more. Oh, the thing what we want to do here is get it right down into the roots, like get it right all the way down to the netting. This is just water, so all this is doing is it's kind of scrunching up and clumping up the fur. That's good, we want that, that's texture. We don't want it to look perfect like it's just come off the milling machine. Living things rarely look like that. So, hopefully the music, I'm using the web player for the music again. Hopefully it doesn't stop at some point, because I can't exactly click a mouse at the moment. If it stops, I'll edit in some other music. All right, I think we can probably start. We've got a good kind of base wetness here, and just sort of massage it down there, work it all in, and just get it all nice and crunchy, and just really mess it up. PJ Guyer tells what is likely apocryphal story that the rumor was going around that whenever they make a new Elmo, they invite all the kids from the staff to the shop and give them a bunch of candy, and then just throw Elmo into the room with them and say, there you go, kids, play with Elmo. So it gets all sticky and grungy and all, sticky children fingers all over it. I don't believe that's true. That would be very irresponsible, and you'd have to do major repairs after that, but it's a fun story nevertheless. But that is the kind of the look we're going for. We want this to really get all kind of grungy and messed up. Okay, so the other place we're going to do it is along the lip line here. As he spills a bunch of water. You are going to get like clumps of fur. Just, be aware of that. You want to be somewhat aware of not having that loose fur stay on the puppet when you put the glue on, because it will just sort of, get stuck in there and not flow with the rest of it. So you do want to kind of clean that stuff out. Let me see if we can move this over a little bit so it gets on camera a little bit better. Now we are focusing on the face here, but you can do this for like the whole, I've done it with the whole body, the arms, everything. But what I'm doing here specifically along the lower jaw is I'm making sure that we can glue down the mouth line here so we retain this nice clean lip line. That can be tricky with the furry monster. This job you meet so many interesting monsters, etc. I forget the line. Forgive me, bugs, I have sinned against you. Okay. So there we go. I think we got a pretty good base coat down of just getting it wet. This is already building up some texture, you see. Think like this, right? Think like that. So now we're gonna get some of the glue. And we're just gonna get it on the gloves and just treat it like you would a massive amount of hair gel. Just get it on the hands there. And I know what looks white, this stuff dries clear, don't worry. You don't want a big kind of concentrated lumps of it, but just get it in there. And just like the water, start working it in. So you don't want it just laying on the surface. You want to kind of get it right down into the fur. But for me, my priority for this particular build is going to be making sure we have this part and have that part stay. Any place you can see that the glue is kind of concentrated and you can see the kind of white streaks, just smooth that over. That's where you want to get down in there and really work it. Maybe I'll grab the handheld camera and show you a close-up of this, because the difference is quite striking and I don't think this camera picks it up very well. Do I dare grab the camera with a handful of glue? That seems like a bad idea. Let's see, let me see what I can do. I might be able to grab some here. So as I'm doing this, there is a bunch of fur coming off on my gloves. This is the stuff you want to get rid of. Okay, so this is why we have the paper towel standing by. Let me grab the tripod of the handheld camera here, and I'll see if I can get a nice close-up of this so you can see the difference. Thankfully, I do have my preview up so I can see what we're doing here. This is going to be shaky cam, I warn you, but I think this is instructive. So here we go. We are nice close-up. I forgot there's a fixed focus, but so here's the fur as it is normally, just out of the box. And here's what we're doing to it. All right, and you can see we're getting it all kind of crunchy and gloppy and goopy, and that's good. That's what we want. So before I mess it up, let me put that back. We'll go back to here. So there we go. Hopefully that was a good visual aid. Okay, so now that we've got this, I'm going to want more, but this is a good start. But there is quite a texture difference now between this bit and the bit that isn't treated with glue. So you want to kind of blend that together. But the next thing I want to do is focus on getting this lip line locked down. Now, this is where you got to be careful, because I don't want to get any of this inside the mouth, like on the black mouth lining. That can be tricky. Now, it's not the end of the world if you do, because it does dry transparent, but there will be a kind of textural difference. It will look like a little stain. You don't want that. So I'm being very, very careful and just going along the edge here. You don't really have to come right up to the line. Give yourself a safety margin. All that really matters is that you don't get the white glue on the mouth lining itself. Again, not the end of the world if you do, but it's just better if you don't. So this is before we started working it in. So this won't hold. The way this is right now will not hold, but we are about to fix that. Okay, so now that we've got it kind of distributed on the surface, now we're going to start working it down and taking the length of the fur and kind of working it in. So what's going to happen is this will all kind of hold together. Once this dries, and that's the other thing. So you're not getting it soaking. You're not getting it completely. We're just getting it like damp. It's just moist. It's just a little moist. So this is actually going very well and very quickly. This was all I had planned to do for this stream, so maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll do something else. After this, there isn't a lot I can do until this dries. But if you're not sure if you have enough, put more on. This is the kind of situation where it's always better to add too much than not enough. So that's basically what I'm going to do now. Is just going to add some more in there. The other thing I want to make sure to do, this is one thing I haven't done, is do the same thing for the lip line I did here, but underneath, and make sure, make a little kind of mustachy thing here, and make sure that the fur is just staying out of the mouth. And hopefully lock that down well enough. It's not going to be perfect, but hopefully lock it down. Get puppets moist. I think there's a creek near me. You know, they were interviewing. By they I mean Adam Savage. This is a while ago. They were interviewing some of the folks who were working on the new Fraggle Rock, and they were just saying, like, you know, we get puppets wet, like we throw them fully in the pool there, and they have special stunt puppets that they do that are not they're all stitched. There's no glue, because the glue would just, you know, get messed up in the water. But sometimes you gotta sacrifice a gobo, you know? Sun puppets. Yeah, no, that's exactly what they are. Okay, and the nice thing about doing this is, like, the bottom, like sort of the beard area here, just gets kind of more beard-like. I don't know, but almost like moss, you know, like ivy hanging off a trellis or something. It's very nice. It's very pleasing. And I think I'm going to put a little bit in the top, not enough to make it stiff, but just enough to kind of hold it in sort of discreet, clumpy bits. So the owner can still style this if they want, but there's a little bit of texture here. It's also not bad to do it on the rest. I mean, I got this stuff on my gloves. We might as well use it, right? And this just adds a little bit of extra texture and life. The difference, you will be astonished at the difference this will make. Not necessarily to the immediate eye, but the impression that this makes. If you would look at a puppet, an identical puppet that has a treatment like this done to it versus one that doesn't, the vibe check would be completely different on both of them. It makes sense, but it sounds hilarious. I know. Get the stunt Kermit. I think I want a little bit more on the bottom jaw here. I'm not sure how well that's going to hold, so let's get some insurance going. So this may end up being quite a short stream, FYI, because this, like I said, this was all I had planned to do. And the other stuff, I don't want to stream it. So, yeah. But don't worry, there's lots more coming. Okay, I'm liking where this is going. This is pretty good. See, it's just tidy. I know it looks a bit off-center. Don't worry about that. This jaw is loose. Also, we're gonna put eyes and nose in here. That'll straighten things out. The actual part itself isn't going to be overly emphasized in the final design. Okay, I think we're good. I like where this is. It's nice. Let's not waste the glue. Give the rest of the body a little bit of love too. And I think we'll go with that. So there we go, one styled monster. Now, let me take these gloves off. And we'll do our little wrap up here. So that's really it. You can, of course, go further and just keep styling and doing more and more and more. And you can do actual styles and stuff like that. This is all I wanted to do for this particular build. But something like the Oracle, for example, who has the kind of Pee Wee Herman pointy thing, faux hawk, I guess. That's a for real just style. Oh, Art Official Lee, nice to see you. I'm pretty sure that's Twitch. Hello. But yeah, you can do just straight up the hairstyling and all that kind of stuff. You can take a comb and comb it through and all that kind of stuff. Now, this will not take as long as you might think to dry. This will be ready to go in a few hours maybe, because we haven't used a lot of water. And that glue, I don't know, there's something that happens. If you just let this air dry, it will be surprisingly dry in not long at all. Like in an hour or two, I'll be able to continue working with this. But for the moment, this has just got to sit and dry. Don't mess with it while it's doing that, because you want it to set, right? You want this to just be the way you've made it. So that's it. We're gonna end the YouTube/PeerTube video here. So thank you for watching, and I hope you will join us for the next tips, tricks, and tutorials. And route. Okay, so there we go. This is it. This is all I had planned for today. We're not even an hour in. We're only 45 minutes in. Wow. That went much faster than I thought. I didn't spend as much time massaging it. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us on Odecast. I value my Fediverse peeps very much. I don't really want to end it right now, though. I mean, I do have more stuff I can do. I was going to do eyelids for this. Oh, you know, well, I got to do a tongue. I got to do eyelids. We can do a little bit more. There's no reason to go right now. So we won't. What I will do is move this out of the way. And also, now that I've grabbed the glue bottle with wet hands, this is why you got the paper towel standing by, so you can pick up the glue bottle again. And we'll put that over there, let that dry. Now the nice thing about, again, the regular white glue is non-toxic, so you don't have to, this is why we didn't have to have the window open or the ventilation or any of that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna move this aside. In fact, I should move it right off the table. I got nowhere to put it. Okay, we're just gonna move it aside. Let me have a look at the top cam here, because this is the one I think we're gonna go to. That's not too bad. It's not great. Also, sorry, but more shaky cam, I know. Here we go. Let's do that. I'm gonna get rid of this water, and I'll be right back. So don't go away, because I'm gonna still do the more puppet stuff. It's always a bit nerve-wracking working with water in the shop here, because I've got, you know, the computer and electronics and stuff all over the place. Like, don't splash. Whatever you do, don't splash. 'Tis the year of the puppets. You know what? Around here, it's always the year of the puppets. So I gotta do a tongue, and I gotta do the eyelids. I also have to do the nose, but I haven't quite decided how I want to do that yet. So that needs a little more time to percolate in the brain box. But let's start with the tongue. I don't think I have any pre-cuts in red, which I do not, but I do have a little template here that I think would be a good shape for this character. And this is a cardboard template. This is going to be a real simple one. This is craft foam. I don't have, sometimes I will do carved foam with dyed foam. I don't have any red dyed foam. I should dye some foam soon. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe that'll be the next tutorial. Ah, see? Thinking. Always thinking. So I'm just gonna draw in this shape here. This is craft foam. You can get this at a lot of places, any like, you know, craft store, art supply store, that kind of thing. Of course, the thing here is you want to make this as even and tidy as possible. You don't want little snippy bits or little scraggly edges. You want this clean. I don't know how well you can. Wow, you can't see that at all. Trust me, there's a drawing here, but it's good that you can't see that because you're not supposed to, because it's red. Hey, JB's here. Finally not terminally busy while you were streaming. Yeah, you missed the whole first styling demonstration that I shot for YouTube/PeerTube, but that's okay because it's going up on YouTube/PeerTube, so you'll be able to watch it later. We're making a tongue at the moment. 80% scraggly bits, you know, aren't we all? So what I'm going to do with this to cut this out, this is actually sticky back craft foam. This is basically a big sticker. So in order to not have things go poorly, I got these non-stick, these are Teflon coated scissors. And the whole thing you want to do if you're cutting out something like this is to try and do it tidy and try and do it long, smooth lines as opposed to little tiny snips. Now the nice thing about craft foam is you can kind of mold it a little bit. So if you do get a little chunk or something, you can usually just smooth that stuff out. This is where I would have otherwise used a Cricut, but you don't want to get me started talking about how much I loathe Cricut. Cricut will never sponsor Operation Puppet. Even if they wanted to. All right, there's our tongue. He says bravely rejecting something that nobody's offered. So that actually turned up pretty good. Little chunk on the end here. Let me see if I can show you this with the close-up cam. That you're talking about the insect crickets. I was so confused with the sponsorship comment. No, it's a craft machine. It's basically a plotter with a knife attached to it. People use it for vinyl transfers and stuff like that, but you can also cut fabric with it. It is what I used to use to cut out tongues and uvulas and that kind of thing. For what I just did, that's what I used to use the Cricut for. As a matter of fact, some of these were cut out on the Cricut. And, you know, they're nice and precise. But it's so wasteful and it messes up at least half the time, and you just end up wasting material. They're horrible and garbage, and they're also locked into proprietary software with no option not to be. And they're trying to lock you into subscription services all the time. It's horrible. Nobody should ever buy a Cricut. You're awful. Anyway. So, let me see if we can, yeah, that's not too bad. I'm gonna try going to the tight cam here. So you see, this ended up okay. We've got a little divot right there. So the nice thing about craft foam, because it is foam, you can kind of like smooth it down. You can even take an emery board. Sorry, got some stuff on it. Almost like there's a lot of lint in the shop. And gently sand it. That's one thing that a lot of people who are new to the craft don't realize is that you can sand foam, particularly if you do it gently. I'll stick to my scissors, you know? Yes, absolutely. I'm loving the number of people on Owncast, I can tell you. Okay, so yeah, there you go. And that'll just smooth out the edges, get it all nice and even. That is the goal. We'll go back here. What I need is like a hydraulic arm where I can raise and lower the camera. Somebody buy me a hydraulic arm. I'll put it on my Amazon wish list. So I've got a marker here with a slightly darker color, so we're just gonna add some shading. We should have just stuck with the close-up cam for this. Perhaps. Perhaps. Perhaps not. Perhaps I am mistaken. That's not too bad. So this is just your bog standard Muppety kind of tongue. This just adds a little bit of depth and texture. And I always do these by hand just because it adds a little bit of uniqueness to each one. It's never perfect, it's never quite the same. And on the middle part here, before this ink completely dries, get a little makeup applicator. Hopefully, knocking stuff over. Notifications, likes, follows, and shares here on Owncast. Yeah, nice. We just hooked up with one of the stream notification accounts for specifically Fediverse stuff, and I think it's working because, yeah, good stuff. Nice to see you. Love Owncast. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to blending it, making a nice sort of gradient, faded out kind of quality to it here. Here we go. There. He's got a nice soft edge. And to put this in the mouth, because this is a sticker, I am gonna glue it down as well, but the nice thing about this being a sticker is you just peel off the back and it will stay in place while the glue dries. But I am gonna glue it as well. Just because you don't ever want to rely on like a sticker adhesive to do any heavy lifting. So that's that. The other thing is I gotta do eyelids, but I haven't decided how exactly I want to do them yet, so I'm a little bit hesitant to do them on stream. That's an hour's worth of streaming right there. Maybe we should call it right there, because I gotta wait for this to dry. I gotta think about what I want to do next, and this live on stream is not the best place to do that kind of thing. So maybe we will call it there. Ah, there we go. Owner of the Future Puppet here just wanted to say this is amazing. Your puppet is something to see on Sesame Street or the Muppets. I'm surprised Jim Henson's company has not hired you yet. You know what? I'm available, folks. Although I ain't moving to the States right now, I can tell you that much. I'm in Canada, by the way, for those of you who don't know. I am in fact Canadian and in Canada and staying there for now. So yeah. But yes, thank you. So there, client confidentiality is important in doctors, lawyers, and puppet builders. So I didn't say who it was, but there you have it. There is the future owner of the purple puppet that we're working on right now. So I'm glad you like it. And it will be ready by the end of today. So there we go. So going forward, this coming week, as I said at the top of the stream, but of course a whole bunch of people have joined us since, there probably, saying definitely, but probably isn't going to be a build stream next week, but I am taking a week off-ish. I'm doing a lot of video production stuff. And my intention is to stream some gaming stuff, a whole bunch of gaming and some tech stuff as well. You ever think there's a better word for puppet than puppet? Well, it's from the French poupée. So yes, that one. But yeah, so there will be a whole bunch of game streaming, definitely a lot of Warframe. I mean, of course, because that's almost all I play these days. Although not all I play, there will also be some retro game streaming stuff coming up I've been working on. And so yeah, there will be a whole lot of streaming, just not necessarily puppet building. If you're on Owncast, you're good, it will all be here. If you're on Twitch, YouTube, or PeerTube, it's on the other channel, which are all linked off of the channel. So there you go. Mister, exactly. Got to be firing up the Mister. I got a lot of N64 ROMs ready to go. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but anyway, and SNES and NES, and a whole lot of DOS games. We're probably going to start with the DOS games, because I, despite being a hardcore Terry Pratchett fan, have only just briefly touched the infamous or quite well thought of point-and-click adventure game for DOS of Discworld. So that's on the agenda, and I've got it going on the Mister. So retro is great. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm feeling it. Also, I was of the age, like, this is all familiar to me. You know, I'm not experiencing it for the first time. I'm experiencing it again. So, you know, maybe some Leisure Suit Larry. I don't know about that. I always, even as a kid, I found that just kind of like, you know, this is the story of a sleazy guy. What? No, I'm not interested in this. But anyway, yeah. But I have a bunch of Sierra DOS games, so we can absolutely go King's Quest it up. Including, I think, didn't that get written for the Apple II? Because I have an Apple II core in the Mister as well. I'm gonna be able to dig that up. So it's part of Sierra's DNA. It's true. Yeah, Leisure Suit Larry was always kind of meh. I agree. I love how many gaming things we're getting here. So yes, absolutely. If you're on Owncast, you're good. There will be lots of streams coming up, and they're all going to be video game related. There will also be some puppet stuff in there, because this is where the Frankie Play stuff lives now. So King's Quest and Battle Bugs. I don't think I've heard of Battle Bugs. But yeah, so that's coming up over the course of the next week. Don't have any hard schedules yet. Nor will I ever, because my life is just too by the moment. So it'll be when I feel like it and when I can. But anyway, that'll be it for the build stream, I think. I have some video to edit, and I have a puppet to finish building as well. So thank you, everybody. This was great. This was the most active build stream that's been in a few weeks. These things always come and go in waves, but nice to see. Thank you. It's encouraging that we get this kind of traffic. So yeah, again, stay tuned. There'll be lots more stuff coming. Maybe we'll do a build stream. I do have some puppet building stuff I need to do, so maybe we'll do that on stream as well. If I think of a good tutorial to shoot, then we'll probably do that as well. So anyway, I'm gonna go and stop babbling and probably have some more coffee. So have a good weekend, y'all, and I hope to see you, most of you, later.